Paul George, Jimmy Butler, and Paul Millsap. Three all-stars that have switched conferences from the Eastern Conference to the Western Conference. And now, the talent gap between conferences has never been greater. So, what's left in the Eastern Conference? Well, I'm here to discuss that with you today, and I'm going to name the top 10 remaining NBA players still left in the Eastern Conference. The first one being LeBron James. He's proven so much throughout his career. 7 straight NBA Finals, 4-time MVP, and he's clearly still the best player in the Eastern Conference. Another player in the top 10 and one of LeBron's teammates is Kyrie Irving. He consistently shows throughout the regular season that he's a dynamic scorer, putting up 25 points per game this season, and had showed during the NBA Finals, the biggest stage, that he is probably the best finisher, not only in the NBA right now, but all time. So he belongs in the top 10 of players still in the Eastern Conference. Another point guard I'd like to mention is John Wall. He led the Washington Wizards to the second round and was a win away from taking them to the Eastern Conference Finals. This year, he was able to up his scoring production, and he continues to be an elite passer, and I believe he is not only in the top 10 in the Eastern Conference, but in the upper echelon of top 2 to 3 players in the Eastern Conference. Another point guard I'd like to mention is Kyle Lowry. Although he was injured for the latter part of the season and has consistently underperformed during the playoffs, he is a very efficient scorer, putting up over 20 points per game this year. A very efficient passer as well, putting up over 7 assists. Very good three-point shooter, shooting well over 40%, and is an elite defender, so he belongs in this top 10. And one of his teammates, DeMar DeRozan, definitely elevated his game this year, averaging around 27 points per game, and after being ranked on ESPN rankings below the likes of Chris Middleton last year, he's definitely proved that he belongs in the top 10 players still in the Eastern Conference. Another player I'd like to mention is Giannis Antetokounmpo. He clearly took leaps and bounds forward this year and led the Milwaukee Bucks in every major statistical category, and I believe he will be a major threat to win numerous MVPs in the coming seasons. Now, I'd like to mention the 2 players on the Boston Celtics, one of them being Isaiah Thomas. He was absolutely incredible last year, averaging about 28 to 29 points per game, and definitely I had him in my top 5 MVP voting. Although he is undersized and is a lackluster defender, his offensive abilities can't be called the question, and he has this leadership ability that not many individuals have. So he definitely belongs in this top 10 list. And now one of Boston's newer signings, Gordon Hayward, made the All-Star team for the first time last year, averaged around 20 points per game, and is a great defender. He will definitely fit right into Boston's scheme and goes right into the top 10 in the Eastern Conference, which, if he had decided to stay in Utah, might not even been a top 15 or top 20 player in the West. The 2 remaining players I'd like to mention are Kemba Walker, who consistently leads the Charlotte Hornets to overachieving seasons. Although last season they did underperform a bit, Kemba Walker elevated his game to a new level, making the All-Star team for the first time, and the season prior, they were able to win 48 games and make it to Game 7 of the first round against the Miami Heat. So, I expect Kemba Walker to not only lead his team this year in the watered-down Eastern Conference to the playoffs, but elevate his game to the next level and average around 23 points per game. The final player is on the New York Knicks, and it's Carmelo Anthony. Although he's been through a lot of drama over the last few weeks and few months with Phil Jackson, his talent can't be called the question. He's still an elite scorer in this NBA. Although his defensive abilities aren't that great, he's one of the top 5 to top 10 best offensive players still in the NBA. So that definitely elevates him to being in the top 10 of the best remaining players in the Eastern Conference. That finishes up the list. I'd like to mention some near misses on the list, some 5 to 6 players that are very close to making the top 10 but just didn't make the cut. That would be Kevin Love, Bradley Beal, Kristaps Porzingis, Andre Drummond, Al Horford, Dwayne Wade. So that's my list. The Eastern Conference has clearly gotten a lot weaker, and the Western Conference clearly has much more of the talent. But as I had hoped I showed throughout this video, that there is still some great talent in the Eastern Conference. Now, what do you think of my list? Who would you have in your top 10 in the Eastern Conference? Let me know in the comments section down below. Please like and subscribe to the video if you enjoyed it, and see you guys again later.